The following interview is brought to you by local State Farm agent Chris Pettit. Call Chris at 724-532-2100 or visit his website at www.chrispettit.com. A good neighbor with great auto rates. That's your local State Farm agent, Chris Pettit.
Welcome back to the Wildcats Network as we get a reprieve from the Ron Brady show here this week, as I'm now joined by Offensive Coordinator Tom McIntyre of the Greater Latrobe Wildcats after the 42-28 win over the Norwin Knights in Week 2. Coach, you put up 42 points in your game against Norwin in Week 2, headlined by Alex Tash and John Wetzel's big night on the ground. Overall, what were your impressions from your Week 2 win?
It was really an emphasis that we were going to have to keep up. We knew Norwin had a good offense, and all week we knew that it was going to be a battle, and slow down their tempo a little bit by possessing the ball on offense. And luckily in the first half we were able to jump on them and kind of score early. It was great. We planned to possess the ball. We got a few early, but then later in the game, really being able to rely on the run game. Work the clock once we got a lead and kind of keep pounding them. Had great runs by John, by Alex, by Brady. All those guys making positive plays, moving the chains, and it really helped us to kind of stay where we were at and really add on to it in the second half.
Well, during last week in the post-game interview, Coach Brady mentioned that he challenged his offensive line during the week, knowing that it was a big task against Norwin coming into the game, knowing that it was 2-0 teams. I think it's safe to say the offensive line accepted that challenge and embraced it. And it's unique because offensive coordinator and Coach Hammock is the offensive line coach. So how have you and Coach Hammock kind of really provided continuity and also consistency within the offensive unit at the skill positions, but also the line as a whole?
Yeah, they definitely challenged them last week, and really, Coach Hammock is what makes the offense run. Does a great job. I think we've only brought 2 guys back each year, takes a whole new group, molds them together, and really gets them better each week. And you can see it. You watched the film last week, and you see a huge improvement. Those guys buy in. He teaches them well. And he challenged them last week, and he said, and I'm sure everybody heard it, that, we were pretenders because deficiencies in the offensive line, and he said, is that the way it's going to be, or are you guys going to prove them wrong? And certainly they did. I think that was by far our best performance on the offensive line. And those yards that Alex and John and Brady rushed for, that's because of those 5 guys up front. And we've been lucky to stay healthy there, cohesive unit, and really not many negative plays we saw up front from those guys.
I mentioned Alex Tash and John Wetzel headlined the game on Friday. Alex Tash, 4 touchdowns, 251 yards. That's pretty good, don't you think?
Yeah, pretty good. You might be a little young for this, but that's called the Al Bundy when you score 4 touchdowns in one game.
Most of it was done in the Wildcat formation. By the way, yes, I am a little too young for that. How did the Wildcat come about? Because throughout the first part of the season, it's been pretty successful for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. We hadn't used it a whole lot this year, but it was in the past a way to kind of get John a break. We're able to rotate backs in throughout the game with Brady and with Chris. John really never gets a break. He's on the field on defense. He plays some special teams, takes every snap of offense. So in the past, we've used it to get him off the field a little bit. But, he wanted to be a part of it, and we used him a little bit. We got him on a sweep. And, when John's on the field, that you got to have eyes on him. And then with Alex, too, putting him in the Wildcat, he's getting some depth. He has great vision as a runner, and when he's in the Wildcat, he's able to see the whole field better. Really dangerous back there. And then you factor in, what John and everybody else on the field can do, too. Just a little wrinkle for us, something different, and obviously was effective. So,
you mentioned John Wetzel never leaving the field. His ability to take direct snaps as well, design quarterback runs, I think is very unique for this offense. What kind of dimension does that give the offense, knowing that he's a hard-hitting safety, but it can also lay the boom as a quarterback and also run as well as Alex?
He's unbelievable sometimes. He does not want to step out of bounds. He finishes a run on the field. He'd rather run through somebody than step out. He's like a Wildcat quarterback that can throw the ball really well, too. Obviously, you see him in 7-on-7s in the summer. The game plan Friday, we ran the ball well. We had some throws that we liked. We didn't really get to it because we were trying to possess the ball and, maintain that lead. But when he can throw it, when we need to throw it, we can rely on him to do so. And he's just such a hard, physical runner that, it could be a linebacker, it could be a lineman. He's tough to tackle no matter who you are. So when you factor in the threat that he can throw the ball, and he's a 1,000-yard runner and a 1,000-yard passer, really dynamic kid to have back there for sure.
I think I'm going to state the obvious here. This is saying probably that you've had the best depth that you guys have had in recent years this year. Andy Tash, Izzy McMahon, Brady Berhovic, those guys have been here before. Then you add in John and Alex doing what they do. Talk about the depth this year and how they complement your 2 stars on a consistent basis.
It's huge to have, and for us to be able to know, Brady and Alex this year have about the same amount of carries, a few apart. John's pretty similar too. John has the most carries by just a small margin, but to know that we can hand the ball to Brady, we can hand the ball to Alex, and it's positive plays, and You know, Brady hasn't popped the big one yet this year, but it's 4 yards and it's 5 yards. And when you're a defense and you're trying to play that, it's really, really difficult. And, you know, he's going to pop one eventually too. So it's been good being able to get guys off the field, keep them fresh. And then in the passing game, having Andy, guys like Izzy McMahon stepped up, really worked hard since the summer, since camp to get that spot on the field. And, you know, when Sawyer went down, we really asked a lot out of Izzy, and he just keeps getting better and better each week. And really, if you watch him in the blocking game, he's a physical blocker, and he's 10, 15 yards down the field making blocks that are springing those big plays for John and for Alex. And, you know, factor in Jack. Jack's a great threat out of the back as an H-back in the passing game. And, you know, on Friday, probably the best blocking I've seen from Jack all year long. So, you know, all those guys really, really stepping up. But, you know, to be a great team and to get where we want to go, we got to keep getting better. We can't let that be the peak last Friday. That hopefully is just the beginning.
You guys start Big East play tonight against Franklin Regional. Funny thing, the last time the Wildcats were 3-0, everyone, I was 6 months old. So just keep that in mind. You guys try to make it 4-0 on the year tonight. What will be key to get a win at Franklin Regional? They lost big to Upper St. Clair last week. Ultimately, what will be key in order to get the win here tonight?
Yeah, they're a really, really great team, and I think each game that we've played this year, we've seen a better team each week, and that's not going to change this week. Put last week aside, they've put some good film up, got on Plum early in the year, really, really physical, strong team. So, like I said, if we're content with where we are last week, it's not going to be good enough. We got to get better. We got to continue to get better, and this is conference play now, and those guys understand if we drop one at this point, it's going to hurt us down the road. So every game, every snap counts, and we've approached practice this week like that, and I anticipate, you know, on game time, that's what you're going to see from these guys.
Coach McIntyre, it is a reprieve this week, but thank you for your time.